Okay, had some technical difficulties, but I'm back. So we're just going to call this part 2. Hopefully you can join back. Hopefully you can join back in. I was telling you guys last week that I was having problems trying to get that little fix so that I can utilize my webcam for this. There's a tweak that you can do to utilize the webcam for it. Hey Steve, sorry about that. So I've been having problems with that charging port on the other phone. Since Facebook Live can only let you go on via your phone. So since I had that issue with it, hey Rod, sorry, I'm having problems with the other phone. So the charging port is bad, but anyway, so it got overheated, it shut itself down. So I'm still trying to get assistance with that tweak so that I can utilize my webcam on my phone. I mean on my laptop instead of having to do, and my mic instead of having to do it via the phone. But now I'm on my iPhone, so I'm back on. So thank you. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. We're back. So we're just going to call this part 2 because the other video is already going to post, and, you know, we don't want to have to repeat all of that. So if you're back with me, I was taking a poll from you guys to find out whether you believe that person that's a side piece has low self-esteem. And I got one hell yeah. Okay, we'll leave it like that. But again, this is a non-judgment zone. This is strictly opinions. Nobody's opinion is any more valuable than the next person's opinion. And all of them count. And this doesn't necessarily reflect this. Listen, it doesn't have to reflect on you. Okay? That's your opinion. Let's be honest. We're going to be real here. That's what we do. So we got to be real. So here we are. Okay. So tonight's topic, again, just because if you're joining, because this is considered part 2 now since it shut me down on the other because of the phone overheating. Okay, so it's being kept. And apparently there are 2 definitions of being kept. Hey, Ruben. How are you doing? Where are you from? Say where you're from. Everybody welcome Ruben. He's new. Don't make him shy, though, okay? People don't like that. Don't be calling people out like that. I do, but only in a good way. Okay? All right, so back to the topic at hand. Being kept has 2 definitions in case you didn't understand that. First, I thought I only had one. I thought it meant, you know, that you're in a relation, you're committed to each other, but not in the way that you really desire. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no real definitive hope for like a lifetime commitment or a marriage per se, right? Okay. And so in that type of arrangement, when you're being kept, all right, shirts. Okay, I know where that's at. So you're being kept, which means that you're being kept happy. You're being kept fulfilled. You're being kept satisfied, so that whoever it is doing the keeping has an agenda on the back end. Not necessarily a bad agenda, but in other words, they have issues, you know, to where they may not believe, you know, or they might not be ready for that commitment on the level that you're thinking about. So, but you care for them and you are emotionally invested and mentally invested, and, you know, I mean, I have so many topics to cover, and we will, you know, as we progress past this episode 8. But the other definition of being kept, so the second definition of being kept, second is being a side piece, or being, so basically, you know, you being a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, because it goes both ways. Like I said, I always do my research, and I always share the research, and at the end, before we wrap, I always give my opinion about it. I do give examples. That's just the way that I work. So I'm taking comments now. So again, I just want you to chime in and say whether you believe that a person who has a side piece is a person who has low self-esteem, who allows himself to be a side piece. Rather, not the person who has a side piece, but a person who allows himself to be the side piece. Do you believe that they have low self-esteem? And I got one before I got shut down with the heat on the phone. So let me know what you think. That's what I'm trying to find out. You are so silly. Oh my gosh. Stephen, really? Wild child. You will always be wild to me. He says it does when I'm under the influence. Real low self-esteem based on a true story. Okay, I mean, you know, no. I mean, we already know when you're under the influence, you know, your inhibitions are lowered, right? Like, so you might, you know, do things you wouldn't normally do. And you can blame it on the alcohol or whatever you're under the influence of. People know that. But no, legit, like, honestly, do you think that a person who's allowed themselves to be a side piece in a situation, whether it's a man or a woman, because it goes both ways, we always be fair about this, do you think they have low self-esteem? And Brian says, if it's what's best and most convenient for both involved, that's cool then. You mean being kept in a relationship where y'all are only intimate with each other, but there's no expectation, or like any real expectation of a commitment or a future, like a marriage, right? That's what you mean? Okay. But as far as a side piece, you know, either you're a side piece or you have a side piece. And some people have multiples. I mean, that's a whole other topic. I'm not here to bash nobody. That's not what we do. I'm very happy to have you all here to join me. And I'm looking forward, to your feedback. I always get positive feedback. I've got, picked up a whole lot of followers. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for following. Thank you for posting on your timelines for me. And, okay. And Brian's true. Okay. All right. So, okay then. So in that instance, so some people feel like, if you allow yourself to be a side piece, that you actually have low self-esteem. And that could be the case. Or it could be that, I'll tell you, like I said, I always tell, people things that I have seen in my life, things that I've experienced. And I'm not going to give up too much because I don't want to put any, like I said, never throw anybody under the bus like that. But I will tell you this. There was a time, it's like one of my first customer service jobs, right? Okay. Went to this customer service environment. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm very good with people. But I worked with older women. And the older women that I worked with really preferred to just have everything their way, not have a committed relationship, and basically date only married men or committed men to someone else. Mostly married men. Because, their explanation to me was they get to send them home. They don't have to deal with the laundry. They don't have to deal with the arguing. They get to go on trips. They get the bags. They get the gifts. Every time that they see each other, it's fun. It's fun to be sneaky, or it's whatever, or they've grown accustomed to being taken care of. I had no idea at that time that that was a definition of being kept. I only found out today because my understanding of the definition of it was something totally different. So, it doesn't matter. I'm non-judgmental on that. But I've learned a lot as a young lady being around older ladies. And there, unfortunately, are a lot of people, both men and women, who prefer that. I really know men who only talk to women who are involved with another man. They have a man at home. He don't have to deal with any of that. So, and then also, in situations where, it's a man, men, more than one man that I know, have known in my lifetime, only want to deal with married women. Same reasons. It's just different. It's just different. Ultimately, it boils down to the same thing when it comes to the sexes. You know what I'm saying? Men and women. I mean, we all know that we're different. Innately, we are different. There's just nothing you can do about that. There are some very emotional men and some very cold, callous women. We already know that. It just depends on how you're made. Basically, that's what it is. How you're socialized, your environment that you come up, because you are a product of your environment no matter how much you want to believe that you're not. You absolutely are under the influence of everything that's going on around you. Now, you can choose to break a cycle if it's not a positive cycle, or you can choose to make your situation better. And you can, suffer the consequences of it if you don't, A lot of people can't see outside of, their immediate environment, right? Okay, so in that instance, so I, have seen it both ways. I have seen where there are men who prefer only to talk with married women and and have intimate relationships and times with married women only. And, I mean, women pay. It's almost like prostitution, in my opinion. Listen, I'm not judgmental again. I'm saying all that. I want you to understand that I am totally non-judgmental. That's not my style. So, I'm only providing information to the masses for things that I have researched, things that I have seen in my life, and things that I've read. So, I've seen it both ways. I've seen men as side pieces, and I've seen women as side pieces. And I've seen some of the most beautiful women who had all of their stuff together, but they had been through some things. Not necessarily they did not have low self-esteem at all. Not these women. You know, they may have not been respecting themselves in the manner that they should have respected themselves. Steve, come on, hook it up. Really? Stop. Okay, you've been silly. No, but anyway. And Lorraine, thanks. Welcome back. And I'm glad that you love the information. I love to provide the information. I love to talk about it. Again, my mission, I will state it again, is as long as I can become a conversation, you know, like whatever I'm sharing, whatever we're sharing amongst each other, as long as we can turn it into something to help someone as a conversation piece at minimum, then my mission has been fulfilled. Really, that's what it is about. And sometimes the topics are much, much lighter. And sometimes the topics are heavier. And sometimes there are things that people want to know that just don't know how to ask. I get inboxed all kinds of things. So people want to ask questions about, people want to talk. People want to know people's opinions. Like we're here in this environment, you know, we have this whole social network. And here we are, you know, together. You know what I'm saying? I made this post completely public, you know, this video completely public, so that we can, you know, people can follow, people can comment, people can give their opinions. Listen, it has a lot to do with the way you're socialized. People believe different things. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Trust me, nobody can judge anybody. Nobody's way of life is better than anybody else's. And if you believe that, then you need to take a look at yourself. Because none of us are better than the other. There is no crime that's worse than another crime. You know, basically. There's no trespass that's worse than another one. I mean, it's just true. It's all the same. Same basket. So, again, what we were saying was being kept. 2 definitions. So, did anybody know there was 2 definitions of being kept? Being kept basically on a string. In a relationship, y'all are good, like you're only with each other. You're only intimate with each other, but there's no hope for that future. Or you're being kept because you're a side piece. The man is a side piece or the woman is a side piece. And again, I have seen very beautiful women. Very intelligent women. They had just been through some things in their life, in relationships, you know, in their past relationships, and they just preferred to keep it light. Almost like friends with benefits, really, or hooking up. That's what they wanted to do. Because, you know, you can go home to your woman or your wife. That's what they said. That's basically the basis and the explanation of it. You don't have to deal with nobody's mess. I don't have to clean up after you. I don't have to do your laundry, right? This is the premise of it. I don't have to cook for you. I get taken to restaurants. I get my bags. I get my gifts. I get whatever I want. I, you know, just put my hand out and get all your cash. Because I'm giving you something that you ain't getting at home, right? And the same thing, too. I've seen it on a man. You know, basically be straight paid, you know what I'm saying, to provide his service. It's just true. It's almost just like, it's almost like it parallels prostitution to me. But, I mean, it's a fine line, right? Okay. So, basically being kept. So, could you allow yourself to be kept? In either scenario. Listen, let's not even say it in either, because I don't want anybody to be confused or feel like they're being judged if they say yes or no. Look. Did you, first of all, that the poll is just a yes or no answers, please. Because I take the polls and this helps me a lot. So, did you know there were 2 definitions of being kept before this conversation? Did you even know what being kept meant? Yes, no, why, and just give me a little bit of feedback on that. And so while y'all are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I found out when I did my research. I'm going to tell you what I found out. So, this came from a male perspective. It's something that I read that said that they were a side piece. The man was the side piece. The woman was married. And he was the side piece. And he was madly in love with this woman because she was beautiful. She was an artist. All these things. And she was highly intelligent. But he was just completely enamored by her and in love with her. He was. But he said that although that went on for 2 years, that's all it could do was go on for 2 years because he felt jealous and envious. And he got tired of not being able to sleep next to her at night, all night long. He got tired of after the business or after the date that she was gone. You know, he felt like he was used. And this is from a male perspective, I want you to understand. This came from a male. A male wrote this article, right, that I read. And I have had that echoed to me before when I've talked to people about situations like that. You know, gathered opinions, people that have inboxed me these topics. So I got the inbox and the email for this specific topic. Only on the being kept. Again, no idea that there was 2 definitions of being kept. But now we know. 2. 1, being in a relationship with someone, only being intimate with each other. But there's no guarantee of any type of long-term commitment or marriage. So you're being kept happy, fulfilled, taken care of, rent paid, all of that. And the other definition of being kept is being a side piece, whether it's a man or a woman. So, again, back to the man that wrote the article. So from his point and his perspective, he said that he just couldn't do it anymore. That, you know, yeah, it seemed like it was all fun and games at first until he got completely invested, but he really saw that she just wasn't ever going to leave. She strung him along to say that she was going to leave, and she never left. And so 2 years in, all of these holidays, you know what I mean, he was alone, and she was with her family. And social media is a beast, let me tell you. People can see friends of friends. Come on, we already know there's really no privacy in social media, in regards to social media, right? Somebody knows somebody, and really, trust me, it's going to come out, you know. People don't like to stay hidden. People don't like to stay hidden. You know, it's your family. That's your wife, your husband, you know, your family. I mean, it puts you in a bad position whenever you're that person, you know what I'm saying, that's doing the creeping, right? Because they're taking pictures. I mean, what are you going to do? You're with your wife or your husband and your family. You're not going to take pictures when you're on your trips. You're not going to take pictures when you're during your holidays. You're not going to take pictures when you're at a birthday party. Somebody's going to see that you're doing something. And so even though that person knows that they're the side piece, you still have been stringing along because, and this man specifically, these were his chief complaints. The woman was still stringing him along because he really believed that she was leaving her husband. But everything that he saw contradicted that. You all hugged up and happy at restaurants. Every time, you know, you get to tripping, you want to have a fight with me because, you know, you got a weekend or a vacation coming up where this is where you don't have to talk to me. So this is that type of thing, you know what I mean? That's that whole side piece thing. So, you know, and I had a man tell me once before, you know, like he was a married man, you know, and he was married for convenience. They hadn't lived together for years, right? And he was married for convenience. He was also married because they had a child that, you know, was preteen. And he didn't want that. He wanted to just continue to pay what he wanted to pay. He wanted to handle the child support. He didn't want to be in child support court. He didn't want her touching all his extra money, his retirement, all that. So they agreed, you know, that they were not together, but they were not going to get a divorce until the child, you know, was grown, out of college and whatnot. So if you know Texas, you know, that's how the laws are here. It's not so much about, you know, 18. 18 is not a magic number. If your child is in college, then, you know, or student in college, that's pretty much what it is. So you stay stuck to that. So this is what they agreed on. But, I mean, he basically said, you know, that he told me straight up. He's like, you know, yeah, I'm married, you know. And, you know, a lot of women, you know, they will accept it because they think, you know, I'm going to get a divorce. And I'm not getting a divorce. These are my reasons. They don't understand, you know, why I'm not divorced. I try to explain to them and they say, oh, that's highly selfish of you to just stay. Like, that lets me know how you are, you know, like, you're selfish as far as money. Like, what is that about? You know, so he told me, and I have found this to be legitimate because I have talked to women about this too. He said a woman will go to a line with you, but the maximum amount of time they would really stay in that situation would be a year, about a year before they start acting up and saying, hey, wait a minute, you know, what about me? All these promises that you made me or you made me feel. Listen, stop. A person cannot make you feel anything. You can allow yourself to feel things. And this is one of the things that I always say. It's important for you to keep it real with yourself. I say this all the time because who you're really mad at is yourself. When it comes down to it, you're mad at yourself because you allowed yourself to compromise what you believe, what you deserve, for whatever reason, to get yourself involved in this type of situation. And for whatever reason it is, you chose to stay in that situation. Until you crawl up out of it, then what can you do or say? This is a non-judgment zone. Again, I have dealt with women that older women, when I was younger, and they only want to fool with married men or someone who was in a committed relationship, and they had their reasons why. Again, money, gifts, no drama, no laundry, no cooking, none of that, no fighting, no nothing. Sneaky fun, little short vacations, gifts galore, traveling the world, whatever, a man would do whatever, that man would do whatever he had to do, to keep her on the side because she was fulfilling something for him. And the thing about it too is that they even knew that they were not even the only one. They knew they were not the only side piece. There was more than one, and they knew it, and they didn't care. This woman did not care. And it was like a whole gang of them. Like, I was like, wow. Like, I mean, I was very naive and innocent. I was married, 23 years old. Listen, that was my man. We had been together since, 18 years old. I was engaged for 5 years. And I was married, like, 1 year when I learned all this stuff about how these women operated. And I was like, wow, it's like a whole network of them. That's what they did. They just, dated married men. It was just easier for them. And same for men. So, again, just in case you just joined, hello everybody. It's okay what? Okay. Steve, is it okay to to feel kept with your ex-fiance or husband? I mean, this is the thing. You said ex-fiance or ex-husband, Steve. So, I mean, really, they're ex for a reason. And that's not being funny. I'm saying that whatever the reason was, it just didn't, it wasn't, basically it didn't compliment you or your life. So, no. I would say, in my opinion, no. So, again, being kept. 2 definitions of being kept. 1, you're a side piece. Sugar mama, sugar daddy, you got one of them. And you're their side piece. They're married or in a committed relationship, right? Okay, that's what they do. Second definition of being kept is being in a relationship that it's just it's one-on-one. It's just you and your significant other. But there is no promise of a commitment deeper than what you have now. And these things go on for years. And you're being kept in the sense of, in terms of, your needs are being met. You're being kept happy and satisfied, and being kept and made to feel important in the relationship, like you really have some say-so, but there is really no hope or definitive or clear line that y'all will do something more together. That there will be a higher commitment, a higher level of commitment, or even a marriage later down the line. An exclusive commitment, basically, as far as a future, like a dead set commitment. So those are the 2, a concrete, right? Okay. So earlier I asked, I'm going to just, kind of wrap up what we kind of already discussed. So earlier I asked if, y'all believe that, a person who allowed themselves to be a side piece had low self-esteem. I got some yeses on that. So people believe that, and I also explained that I have seen highly intelligent women and men allow themselves to be a side piece for whatever their reasons were, whatever their deep-seated issues were from their past relationships, whatever it was, whether they had trust issues, whatever, or whether, and I'll tell you in a minute. I've seen something else, and I will close with that. But tell me, so do you think that being kept in a relationship where you're just one-on-one, do you think that has longevity? That's a yes or a no. And again, I promise to give you my opinion. I always do. And I will do that momentarily because we're about to wrap. Let me know what you think. Because there are all types of commitments, And, this is the thing, that this is that forum. And again, my mission here is strictly to talk about things that people want to talk about that are difficult for them to talk about. They can be serious. They can be very lighthearted. Sometimes they are. Sometimes we just crack up laughing the whole time. We talk about pet peeves and first date situations and, things like that. Situations with your kids, situations, you know, with your man or your woman or your significant other, you know what I mean? Issues with work, bosses, all kinds of stuff. We talk about all kinds of really neat things. And I get people inboxing me all the time, you know, with different topics that they want to talk about and know about. So tonight's topic was being kept. And most people didn't understand that being kept had two definitions. Some people didn't even know what being kept, even one definition of being kept meant. So being kept has two definitions. I'm recapping now. Being kept has two different definitions. One is being in a relationship, well, being with each other, just the two of you together, and not having a real long-term commitment or a promise of anything more, like a marriage or, you know, that type of situation. So you're being kept happy, fulfilled, kept on the line, strung along, kind of on the hook. And that happens because one or both of you have issues that you haven't really dealt with, or trust issues or relationship woes in the past, so that you just don't go there. You have financial reasons why you don't do it. I've heard people say that they don't want to commingle their money, and they don't want to be taken to the cleaners. Highly successful people, you know, or one more successful monetarily than the other, and they have issues with that. So that's being kept on one definition. Being kept on the second definition is being a side piece. Being a sugar daddy, having a sugar daddy or having a sugar mama, being with someone who, you know, has a husband or a wife, and you know it, but that's what you prefer. Those are the two definitions of being kept. And so I had a few people say that they felt like a person who allowed themselves to be a side piece knowingly had low self-esteem. That was clear. That was made pretty much clear. A lot of people just didn't even really realize there was more than one definition of it. I actually didn't either. And then I shared the situation where I read the article that the male wrote, that he was in a situation for 2 years. And he really believed that the woman that he was with, even though he knew she was married, he believed that she was leaving. But he soon discovered, even 2 years, even if it feels like a long time, 2 years is kind of a long time. That's a lot of holidays. That's 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays. And depending on when you started, it could be 3 Christmases, 3 birthdays. You know, all these things that he saw, and he was not able to share, you know, those things with this person that he was so deeply in love with. And he would see all this stuff on social media, you know, but you're leaving, you know, your husband for me. Yeah, never happened. So therefore, he had to make that judgment call and say, hey, I'm walking because, you know, I deserve, you know, to be fulfilled, and I deserve that commitment from someone. And good night, Stephen. Thanks for joining. Thanks so much for joining. And hey there, Miss Vanessa, most beautiful lady, and Miss Song and Martha. Hi, everybody. Got a lot of new followers. Thank you guys for sharing and posting also. And so basically, I will go ahead and give you my opinion about it. Do I believe that a person who allows himself to be a side piece has low self-esteem? No, I don't. I believe they might have some issues. They might have had some relationship woes in the past. I believe that they may, I honestly believe that friends, best friends, good friends can actually end up crossing a line they maybe shouldn't cross sometimes. It's clear it does happen. It may be taboo, but it has happened in the past. So there are people who actually go through that type of scenario and situation. So in that instance, listen, I don't down anybody. You know what I mean? What you knowingly do, you know, you have to deal with the consequences of those actions. It's nobody else's place to judge you. So hopefully, you know, you make the right choice for yourself. And, you know, I can't agree that you just like this all-out horrible person, or that you have just this horrible low self-esteem, because I've seen the most professional, beautiful women, the most professional, handsome men who had everything together, but they just allowed themselves, you know, to fall into that situation, even if it was for just a short time, or some people for 7 to 10 years until they could finally remove themselves from it. So being kept, again, 2 definitions. So I am so happy that all of you join me. And could I be kept in either circumstance at this juncture, at this age, at this stage in my life? The answer is no on either front. I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to be with who makes me happy. And to me, my opinion is, if you really truly care for and love someone, if you truly love them, you will put their happiness first. I'm all about the selflessness. That's my campaign in life. To be selfless, not selfish. So as long as I can continue to promote that and people understand that, that kind of rubs off on people sometimes. And that's really what we need to aspire to be, is selfless. So for me, I'll never push someone into something that they don't want to be in. I'll never make them feel they have to give me something that they're not comfortable giving me. So you know what you want for me. You know what you want for us. And so basically it's up to me whether I accept you where you are, the terms that you're offering, or what you're bringing to the table. Whatever that baggage might be, I have to be either strong enough to accept it, or I have to be patient to wait for you to work and iron those things out, all the wrinkles, or I have to just say no, that this doesn't work for me. So for me, in a relationship, the answer to that, as far as being kept, by either definition, will not happen for me. Not at this juncture in my life. And I have no opinion of anyone who allows that. That's their own choice. They will have to deal with the consequences and actions that come from that. So anyway, please go and follow. Turn on your notifications so that you can see when I go live. I go live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Maybe 9:10 or so, just because sometimes I have technical difficulties. Tonight there are 2 parts to this video because the phone overheated. I am working on the tweak so that I can utilize the laptop and the webcam. So I really appreciate you coming on and, sharing, your opinions, making me laugh. I love all the new people, all the new faces. Please continue to post on your timeline for me. Please continue to share. I will make this video will stay public. You can come back and watch it later. You can share it if it helps you in any way. Again, my sole mission on this is to just basically be here to just kind of like put it on the table for y'all, whatever it is that you want to discuss, so that my mission is fulfilled. It's accomplished if it at least becomes a talking piece for you, or for you, it helps someone that you know or love that's going through a situation, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be a difficult topic. Just things, that stress people out, or things that they just want other people's opinion about, right? Okay. So anyway, go and please follow. And you can email me at ribabii, RIBABII at iCloud.com, and with your topics, or you can text me if you have my private number, or you can inbox me on Facebook. Please follow on Instagram, RIBABII. And please follow these posts and turn on your notifications. And again, I will see you next week. We will go ahead and post. I'll post next week what the topic will be, probably by Monday, so that you have time to do your research or to formulate your responses or your opinions. I really appreciate everybody for joining. And I want to say good night. And I just want to remind you that there is always little time to be fancy. There's always a little time for fancy. So y'all have a good night, and thank you.